Good morning and welcome to review of chapter 1 through 6. Today we're going to be reviewing the material we have been going over for your test. Our essential questions are: why does data matter in your everyday life, and how can we interpret data? Data is really important to statistics. We went over this in the first lesson. Statistics is made up of data. If you remember correctly, our first example, is that data or is that not data? Think in your head about if that's data or if it is not data. This one was no, it's not data. Our second one is yes, that is data. If you cannot answer who and what, then you do not have any data. In our first one, you could not answer that. In the second one, you could. So who is the cases, the sample, or sample of the population, and it's who the information is about. Your what are the characteristics about each variable. Both quantitative and categorical variables should be listed if possible. When is the time the data was collected? Where is the location of the data? Why is the reasons the data was collected, and how is the method that the data was collected from surveys, polls, experiments, censuses, etc. We have two types: categorical data, which is a variable that means categories, whether with words or numerals, and quantitative data, the variable in which the numbers act as numerical values and they always have units. There are different ways to represent categorical data. Some of the ways we talked about were frequency tables, bar charts, pie charts, and contingency tables. Your frequency table records totals and category names. Your bar chart displays categorical data showing each count side by side in bars. Pie chart shows the whole group of cases whose pieces are proportional to the fraction of the whole. Contingency table looks at two categorical variables together in a two-way table. And at the bottom, I'll set up the fraction, but you can solve that on your own. We did this last time. So what percentage of the women picked H? So you go to the number of women who picked H, which is 10, over how many total women there are. You divide that and multiply it by 100. For the percent of people who picked NS, you would go how many total people picked NS, and then out of how many total people there are. Different ways to represent quantitative data. You have all different ways of representing that. You have a couple histograms, you have a 5-number summary, a dot plot, and a stem and leaf plot. Your histogram displays a quantitative distribution. Stem and leaf display is similar to a histogram, but shows the values of all data. A dot plot graphs a dot for each case of data. When you describe a distribution, remember you want to think of the modes. Is it unimodal, bimodal, multimodal? Are there any unusual features such as gaps and outliers? And is it symmetric? Does it have tails, or is it skewed? Your 5-number summary reports the pieces of your distribution. So the maximum is your highest number. Quartile 3 is the median of the numbers above the median. Median is the middle value. It divides your histogram into two equal areas. Quartile 1 is the median of the numbers below the median, and your min is your minimum or lowest number. Box plots and 5-number summaries. Listed are your steps 1 through 4 on how to create your box plot. These are the same steps we went over in the last lesson. I would pause the video, and read over or write it down if you need to. We did go over it last time, so if you're still confused, please go back to the previous lesson. You do need to have your 5-number summary of quantitative variable so you can make your box and whisker plot. Here's the example of your box and whisker plot. Remember, your outliers are very important. Do not just get rid of them. Comparisons. You can compare your histograms to each other and your box plots to each other. You can also compare histograms to box plots as well. So, looking at these 2 box plots, answer the following questions. Which cereal do consumers rate the highest? Here's your highest. Here's your lowest. Look at which one is higher. We have a higher point right here, so you have name brands. What is the lowest median value, and what type is it? So look at your medians. You have a median here and a median here. Which one is lower? Store brand. So it's about 75, and it's your store brand. Your mean is the average of all your data, which is your y-bar. So your y-bar equals total over the number of data points there are. To find your variance, you need your variance in order to find standard deviation. So in order to find your variance is the average of your squared deviations. So you find the mean, subtract the mean from each data value, square the new value, and then add all your squares and divide by n minus 1. Once you have your variance, you then take the square root of your variance, and that is your standard deviation. Z-scores. You subtract the mean in real score and then divide by your standard deviation. So it gives you an indication of how unusual your value is, because it tells you how far from the mean it is. It will not change the shape of your distribution, but it will change the center by making the mean 0, and it will change the spread by making your standard deviation 1. Normal modes. It's distribution whose shape is unimodal and roughly symmetric. So it looks the same on both sides. Remember, when you're working with your standard normal model, make a picture. You want to sketch it out and label, make that picture. It is very important and will help you in solving. You do have your 68, 95, 99.7 rule. This is important. 68% of your data is going to be between -1 and 1 standard deviation. 95% of your data is going to be between -2 and 2. And then 99.7% of your data will be between -3 and 3. Using the z-table. In the back of your textbook, and even online, there are z-tables. So if you are not told the z-score, you need to find it. Use your z-score table to determine the area. Subtract the 2 areas and convert it to a percent. Please look at the previous lesson if you need help on that. To do. You need to complete the review worksheet on our page, and please contact me for any questions you have. After you complete the review worksheet, if you would like for it to be graded, that is fine, and then you need to complete your test. Thank you.